Welcome everyone. My name is Steve Hanney, founder and CEO of Aspenify. In today's tutorial, we will be taking a look at how to set up and build your community within your workspace. Once you are accessing your workspace, you're then able to set up your various community members and teams. So you can think of a community really as two elements: the users that are able to access your workspace and the teams that they're members of. As a user, you can be a manager within a team or you can be a member of a team. A manager of a team is very important because typically when you start assigning content or activities as part of an initiative, the default person that will be assigned those activities is the manager unless you say otherwise. So always pick carefully who your manager is going to be for each of your teams. So we're going to spend quite a bit of time in this tutorial really talking through how to set up your community. And it's very important to think carefully through how you organize your community up front, because it will be applied to everything else you do within your workspace. Now the good news is you can add new team members and new community members at any point in time. So you're not set to have everything loaded right up front. You can actually add people as you go. But it is worth spending a little bit of time making sure your team structure is valid longer term. So to do that, I jump to the community section within the conductor module, and immediately I'm able to see the users and roles within the workspace, along with the various teams that are accessible. And the teams are on the left, the users and roles are on the right, and you can see here I've already started to populate some of that information. So first, let's think about the teams. So in this particular case, it's a restaurant franchisee. So one of our clients has approached us to help them document their specific details relating to the restaurant business. So in this case, I have a dummy restaurant team, I have a recruitment team, I have a cookathon event team, and so on. And the way to think about these teams is it's a virtual group of people that are coming together for a specific activity or initiative or project. So you can think of, in the case of a restaurant, you have the chef, you have the front of house staff, you have the restaurant manager, you have various members of the team that are all part and parcel of setting up the restaurant. So this becomes very relevant when you take that team and you associate it with a playbook. We do that later on in these tutorials when we talk about initiatives. The big role for the initiative in the navigator is to effectively stitch together the team, the people in that team, to the various roles that are designed within the playbook. So that's very important. So I always recommend you spend time building these virtual teams to make sure that all the right people are included in those teams before you really start to heavily working on key initiatives. Because then all you have to do is just select the team, assign the people, and away you go. It's very simple. It's a matter of seconds to really do the mapping once you have these teams established. So it's definitely worth spending the time and the cycles building the right team structure. Now, for any of our tiers, you have the ability to set up as many teams as you choose. So there is no limit on the number of teams. So that gives you full flexibility on a workspace level to create as many teams as you choose. And the good news is the teams can be hierarchical. So you don't need to have everything sitting at the top level. You can actually set up sub-teams. So for example, here I have the Acme team. I can create a new team below it, and I can group those. So in this particular case, Acme now has a sub-team that is available for use. So you can see here Acme sub-teams number 1, and I can now list that when I click on the resources pane and show the specific details down here. And you can have as many sub-teams as you choose. You can even create a sub-team of a sub-team. So it allows you to create a very hierarchical organization if you need to do that. We have some clients in the IT space that have traditional business models where you've got finance and marketing and sales and services and product engineering. So you can create those as high-level teams and then create the subgroups that you need below that. Now, at our current release, all of that information is manually entered into each workspace. So you can imagine there's a fair amount of effort putting that in place. Within the next 6 months of our roadmap, we plan to have that dynamically implemented using Microsoft Active Directory as well. So if you're a very active user of Microsoft Active Directory, then we can populate that information into the system, and you can use that as a way to generate and format your teams. So now that I've created my teams, I want to make sure I've started to add all the users to my workspace. And to do that, I just go to the users section and start adding the team members. You can see here I'm in there. Erica is also in there as a manager. Mike, Bill, Martin, and Jack are all there as members. So the managers are very important. If you are established as a manager within a particular team, then effectively, as a default, all activities get assigned to you as a manager, and then you can distribute them out unless stated otherwise. And you'll see that a little bit more detail once we get into the Navigator details. So to check on a particular user, you can click on that person. You can see what teams that person is assigned to, and it's pretty easy for you to be able to do that. Likewise over here, I can see that Erica has no teams at this point inside Acme Restaurant Team. But if I move to a high level and I show myself and then the teams, you can see I'm actually accessing all of these teams, and I'm a manager for all those teams because I'm typically the default manager as being the workspace owner. If I click on Martin, you can see Martin has 4 teams that they're members of. Erica is members of 4 teams, and so on and so forth. So just being a user doesn't mean you're limited to one team. You could actually be a virtual team member of as many teams as you choose. So that's also very flexible. And of course, if you want to take somebody out of a team, you can do that just by hitting the delete button. As you can see here, remove member of team Acme Restaurant Team. You can see that currently there's a predefined role and the action is not reversible. So to add a new person, I just click on the add button. I can then go through the process of adding a new person. Actually say and I want to be able to make sure they're added to the restaurant team as a member, and I hit invite. So now, if I go here, you'll see Sachin has an invite along with Paul, and Sachin then can go in and an email is sent through so they can accept that invite and then be able to work within the workspace. Okay, so we've invited a person to the workspace. We've invited them and then predefined them to be part of this restaurant team. You will notice right now they are not in the restaurant team. That only happens once they accept our invitation. We have set up a sub-team, and in this case I'm going to delete that again so it cleans up the team list. Same is true over in users and roles. If I wish to find out more information directly, as well as all the teams that are being associated to that user, I can do that just by clicking on the Teams card. So that just about wraps up the community management piece, and we have covered the various aspects of managing teams, managing users and roles, as well as managing how to set up hierarchical teams, how to invite new users, and how to manage those invitations. If you have any additional questions or wish to find out more information, certainly access our website support pages at www.aspenify.com/support. You can also access our community from that page. If you wish to get online help from the application itself, just click on the question mark at the bottom left, and you can get tutorial information as well as user guides, access the forums, and log any issues that you may find. The report issue button is actually quite useful because it will pull up an online form that allows you to log an issue directly to our development team. So once you hit submit, a ticket is established and a development team will prioritize that on the current plans for the next release. On behalf of Aspenify, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We really appreciate your ongoing support and feedback. Have a great day.